Hey, welcome back, everybody, as we continue our journey through the MCU with Thor Ragnarok, the third film in the Thor franchise. This one sort of really changes up the character a lot, and I think it's what most people consider the best of the Thor movies. But before we get into my review, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button if you like the video and subscribe to the channel for more Marvel reviews. And if you want to help support the channel some more, you can follow the link in the description below. You can buy me a cup of coffee. Alright, so let's get into my review for Thor Ragnarok. So this is probably my favorite of the Thor films. I think it's just, the tone is just done really well, and I really like it. And it's probably top 5 of my Marvel films. It's one of my favorite of the MCU. So I really enjoyed being able to revisit it again for this review. And I really like the opening narration that we get with Thor, and it's kind of a quick, fun way to catch us up to speed with what the character's been doing. And then the opening with Surtur really sets up the end of the film and Ragnarok and everything. And then we get a really awesome action scene here with Mjolnir, which is great because he loses Mjolnir, so at least we get an awesome scene with him. And I love the use of Mjolnir in this opening action scene, and I also love the use of the Led Zeppelin song, Immigrant Song, throughout this movie. I think it's done really well, and especially in this opening scene with the fight with Mjolnir, I think it's done really great. I also really like the synth score, that kind of like 80s pop synthy score that we get, especially once we get to the Grandmaster. I think that really kind of works really well with the tone of this film as well. And then we get the reveal that Loki has been impersonating Odin on Asgard. And so Loki and Thor have to go to Earth, and we get a Doctor Strange cameo. And I like the scene with Doctor Strange because it establishes him as one of the main characters, or powerful forces in the MCU, and it sets him up for Infinity War and Endgame and everything. So it kind of just reminds people that, yeah, this Doctor Strange character is going to be sticking around. If you didn't see his movie, go back and watch his movie, because he's going to have a big part in Infinity War. So I really like that, and that's actually one of the good things I think that Phase 3 does, is it introduces a character and then immediately follows them up in another movie as well. So I really like that cameo. And so they find Odin in, I think, Norway, and I really like this scene between Odin talking with Thor and Loki, and I think it's a really good moment between Odin and his sons, and I like the look on Loki's face when Odin says, "I love you, my sons," because if you look at Loki's arc throughout the MCU, that's really all he's ever wanted. He's been seeking the approval and the love of his father, especially since he realized that he was adopted, and being in the shadow of Thor and everything, he always thought that he was second best. So to sort of get that validation from Odin himself that he loves his son, I think is really a touching moment, especially for Loki. And I just love it. It's a very subtle expression, but it's really beautifully done by Tom Hiddleston, where you see how much that really means to Loki. And then Odin dies, and then we get the reveal of Hela, the goddess of death, played by the great Cate Blanchett. And I gotta say, Hela is just kind of like an okay villain, but I love Cate Blanchett, and I love that she just went for it in this comic book movie. It's a very different type of thing for her to do, but I think her performance is really great. The character is just she literally comes out of nowhere, and she's just like evil for evil's sake. And so she's not really a complex character. She's kind of fun. She has some fun moments. But I think Cate Blanchett is what really makes this character stand out. And she breaks Mjolnir, so that shows just how powerful she really is. And, although I do wonder is Hela also the daughter of Frigga, Odin's wife, Thor's mom? And if not, then did Frigga know about Hela? I don't know how that history works. It feels like a little bit of a retcon, but we're just told to kind of go with it. So then Thor ends up on the planet Sakaar, and along with Loki. And I love the introduction of the character Valkyrie. She just kind of stumbles in being drunk and captures Thor. It's kind of fun. Also, I love Jeff Goldblum here as the Grandmaster. I really wish we could see the return of him in the MCU. I think he just did a wonderful job. I mean, he did what Jeff Goldblum does. And I just thought the character had a lot of great moments, a lot of funny lines. But you also know that he's like not somebody to be messed with as well. So, and then I love his like right hand side lady. I don't remember her name, but she was also really funny too. So I really love the Grandmaster here, and just like the whole visuals of Sakaar is really cool looking. I do have one question though, like if Loki has been on Sakaar for like 2 weeks, he says, then like how does he not know that the Hulk is the Grandmaster's champion? Like there's like literally like a sculpture of Hulk's face on the side of the building. Like how does he not know about the Hulk? Does the Hulk only fight once a month or something? Like, because it seems like these fights happen like almost every day or something. So, alright, that's a little bit of a nitpick, but you kind of got to go with it because I do love the reveal of the Hulk and the look on Loki's face and how like shocked he is and like he's like I got to get out of here. So that is kind of fun. And the fight between Thor and Hulk is a lot of fun. It's a great callback to the fight that they had on the helicarrier in the first Avengers movie. And it's really cool. We get to see this gladiator fight between them. We get to see this really awesome version of Hulk and Thor fighting. So I really do like that. And I also like the thing that turns Hulk back into Bruce is the video of Natasha from Age of Ultron. It makes sense because of the relationship that they had in Age of Ultron, and also like Natasha was the last person that Bruce saw before he had turned into the Hulk, because she like kicked him into the pit and he turned into the Hulk. So I like that connection is what brings out Bruce. And then we get a great flashback of the Valkyries fighting Hela, and it's just like visually stunning. Like it looks amazing. It looks like living artwork. Like it's really beautifully done, and it kind of like lets us empathize with Valkyrie a bit and kind of give a quick hand of her backstory and why she is the way she is. And so I really love that scene that we get. It just looks gorgeous. I wish we had some more of those in the movie and in the MCU in general, because it just looks amazing. But it also kind of shows us why Valkyrie decides to choose to fight against Hela in the end. And I think Valkyrie is just such a cool character in this movie. I just like the way Tessa Thompson plays the character with a lot of swagger, but also like this like deep like regret that she almost has for failing, I guess, against Hela and losing, all the other Valkyries, and almost like survivor's guilt or something. And so she just gets drunk and lives on Sakaar, but she does the right thing in the end, and she comes back and she helps them fight Hela in the end. And so I really like that. And then there's another small but powerful scene between Thor and Loki in the elevator that I just really love. So Loki asks Thor if, Loki says, I'm going to stay on Sakaar, and Thor, says, oh, that's great. And Loki says, do you really think so little of me? And I just love Thor's response and the way Chris Hemsworth plays it. And he says, Loki, I thought the world of you. I thought that we would fight side by side forever. And it's just great because throughout these movies, Thor has always tried to believe in Loki and believe in the best in Loki and stick by his side, and Loki is kind of the one that has always messed things up. So, Thor really does see Loki as his true brother, but it's always Loki that has kind of pushed him off and resented him for being Odin's favorite. And I think you see that character progression throughout this movie, that Loki kind of realizes that Thor isn't the perfect son. He's not, and that he's the one that's been holding the relationship, the brotherly relationship between Thor and him. He's the one that's been holding it back. And so I really love that scene because you can see the look on Loki's face where he kind of is like saddened by it, and then it makes for why he returns at the end by Thor's side, and he really wants to mend their bonds. And that continues into the beginning of Infinity War as well. And so I really do like that reconciliation that they have, and it's just a brief little scene in the elevator, but again, it's beautifully done, well acted, it's subtle, and I think it really says a lot about the characters. So in this movie, we take away Thor's hammer, and he has to prove himself again, sort of like the first Thor movie, but instead it's not really about him proving himself to be worthy. It's him needing to find the inner strength to summon his power and prove himself to be the god of thunder without the hammer, right? He's not the god of hammers. So, he goes to fight Hela, he loses an eye, but then he talks to Odin and he gets this like massive power upgrade, right? Which is really cool. And so I love seeing Thor like wielding the lightning and taking out all of Hela's army to the Led Zeppelin song. I think all that looks really great. It's so well done. And just like giving Thor that like power upgrade is just so cool. And of course we'll see that again in Infinity War, where it's also a great scene. So I think that is one of the good things that they really kind of use this movie to kind of change Thor's character and really evolve him on this arc. And I think this is the movie that kind of really made audiences fall in love with the Thor character. Like, we always kind of liked him, but he didn't have a lot of personality, and this movie kind of gave that to him. And so I think this movie, along with Infinity War and Endgame, are the best versions of Thor, and it's a great character arc for him for these three movies. I would say Thor Ragnarok, Infinity War, and Endgame are the best of the Thor trilogy, really, if you want to call it that, because it does the most with the character, and it really progresses him, and I really love this version of Thor that we got. And one of the things I love about this movie is that, yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I didn't even mention Korg. I do love Korg. He's got some great dialogue in this movie as well, but this movie is funny, and it has good action and good use of music. So it's definitely an entertaining ride, and you can have a lot of fun with it. But it also has a lot of heart and has a lot of those subtle moments that I mentioned that really kind of give you the emotional connection that you need to the characters and makes you feel relatable to you and progress the character arcs. So it has a really good balance, not being too silly and not being too dark or emotional. It kind of strikes that perfect balance, I think. Because this movie does deal with some dark stuff. It deals with death, and Thor loses an eye, and they're trying to make amends, and Hela's the goddess of death and everything. But it does keep a lighthearted tone to it, but you get those subtle character emotional beats that really kind of draw you in and make you love these characters. And so that's why I think this movie stands out as one of the best in the MCU. And it's definitely, for me, is the best of the Thor films, for sure. So that's my review of Thor Ragnarok. I really love it. I think it's a really great movie, and it's easily top 5 Marvel for me. But let me know what you guys think. Do you guys love the movie? Do you guys think it's just okay? Are you somebody that hates it? I don't know. So share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, piss off, Ghost. Bye.